If you're looking to get more stops in college football 25, the most common defense you're going to find in the game that can accomplish that goal for you is the double mug meta. Now, every single playbook in the game, regardless of being a 4-2-5, a 3-3-5, a 3-4, multiple, they all have some sort of double mug meta, and this is going to allow for you to get a gap pressure, disengage pressure akin to the 4-3 even 6-1 in Madden 24. For those of you that played Madden 24, you're going to be able to kind of just get fluke pressure all game long. Now, there are two main plays that you need to be aware of when it comes to this meta. I'm going to teach this to you from a defensive lens and also kind of talking about this from an offensive point of view as well. So let's go ahead and get started here. The main plays that we're going to be focused on are the mid blitz and also the nickel dog 3 buzz. The reason for this is that these are the only two plays in the formation, besides maybe SS dog 3, for instance, that have straight line inside linebacker blitz angles. So if you take a look here at nickel dog 3 buzz, notice here how the inside linebackers are both blitzing. Those are the players with the little circles instead of the squares in the formation. They're blitzing straight down. If I wanted to blitz everyone out of a different play, like say Tampa 2, the setup that occurs when we do this is going to make it so when we actually blitz them, they twist around the defensive tackles, which doesn't make this really work the same way. So let's go ahead and get this right from the jump. You want to make sure that you guys are starting off with either mid blitz or the zone blitz version that I just mentioned, the nickel dog 3 buzz. Now, from a coaching options point of view, this is very, very important. We're going to set our read option defense to conservative. With this being a super aggressive defense, oftentimes a man-to-man defense, you want to avoid ever being in a situation where a read option is going to be kept by the quarterback and scooting to the outside. A lot of players will try to go out there and do this and pull the ball with their quarterback. You want to make sure that your edge player is staying home to take away that ability to pull with that quarterback and run to the outside. Imperative that that adjustment is in. Now, for the rest of it, if you guys want to set your pitch key to conservative, I would probably recommend that as well for, your triple option style defenses, your load options, your speed options. Those are going to be important to be on conservative. I know it says that it leaves the pitch open, but like we've talked about before, it's actually backwards. Conservative plays the pitch. It doesn't leave it open. With this particular defense, what we're going to do is we are going to pinch our defensive line, which is, for whatever reason, going to actually spread the defensive ends. Then from there, we are going to crash our defensive line down. Then from there, we're going to take the player that is on the running back based off of our formation, and we're going to come down and stand basically in the gaps. Now, when we pull up the offensive line logic, this is kind of the way that it targets, meaning that if our opponent sends everyone out on routes, we're going to get 2 guys in free on this play. So they snap this ball. Our job is to guard the running back. You see right there, we got a gap plus edge pressure. Now, I know that the flame logos kind of ended up being different players that came in free. One of the edges came in, the other one was picked up, but you saw that as a result, we actually got the defensive end in through the A gap. Had he not been, so damn big, he probably comes in cleanly. Which brings me to my next point. With this particular defense, I think it is super, super important that you guys try to target defensive linemen that you're going to put at the D tackle positions, which are 94 and 91. These particular players need to be players on your team that are a little bit quicker. So I'm looking for acceleration off the line. So before we choose those players, make sure you guys are subscribed right here to the Zan Madden YouTube channel. We drop long form content in the morning with shorts in the afternoon. This afternoon, we're going to be breaking down a pretty good tip as well. So make sure you guys are tuned in for that. And if you guys are wanting more, make sure you guys head over to gridirongameplans.gg, where I'm going to be dropping my defensive game plan for college football 25 this very week. So make sure that you guys are plugged in over there. We got almost 40 vault tips already in college football 25, mostly on the defensive side of the ball. Those will be great to kind of complement my defensive game plan that's coming out later this week. I also already have my Flexbone offense on the website. We're going to be adding to that here in the future as well. There is so much more content to come in college football 25, and there is a membership tier for everyone. If you're a month-to-month player, we offer month-to-month options. If you're locked in for the long haul, make sure you take advantage. I still actually have the pre-sale. It's really just a year-long sale for $75 save yourself about $50 over going month to month at the $9.95 price point. That offer is going to be up until Madden basically comes out. So go check it out and make sure you guys hop in our Discord. So here with this team, I immediately see Whitefield Powell. You take a look at this guy right here. He is a freshman, 88 speed, and he's got gold quick jump, which is a really, really good ability. So I would recommend that you put him in the game. Then from there, just try to target players that have good acceleration. It's important to note that just because a defensive lineman doesn't have insanely high speed, that doesn't mean that he's not useful. Think about how much of the game is actually played at top end speed. I actually tend to look at the acceleration rating for this as well. So when you're starting to look at players, you're like, I'm not really that impressed. I tend to look at Excel because it's just going to make them feel faster as they come through those gaps. So I'm going to put in Gatquath. You could also look for anybody that has the quick jump ability. Right here, it appears that I really don't have anybody else. So all things being even, I will take the acceleration. And for what it's worth, those players are actually your rush defensive tackles. So if you want to just sub them in, feel free. I'm going to put Powell here, and I'll put in Gatquath or whatever his name is. I don't know how to spell his name. We're going to move him down to this spot. Now with our outside linebacker spots, really that's what I'm calling these outside linebackers. I want to put players that do have speed and coverage ability because we are going to sometimes put these players into coverage assignments. So I'm just going to put some linebackers here. I don't know the Colorado State depth chart very well, but we'll just put some players. It doesn't really matter. As long as they're fast and they have some zone coverage, that's what I would recommend. So again, we kind of showed you how to set up the 6-man version. Now what a lot of players are going to do is they're going to start to freak out. So they're going to start to block their running back. This is where you're going to notice that this setup actually starts to become pretty darn good, because what you're going to note with this is that you could put these defensive ends, the X and the B linemen, into coverage. You could zone drop your purples, you could put them into hooks, you could put them into hard flats, whatever it is you feel comfortable doing. But again, the cool thing about this is that the running back goes immediately to the flat. I've got a hard flat to that side if you want to. If the running back is running, Texas routes or things like that, you can always feel free to cross man or do something to that effect as well. You can put them into coverage assignments. Now with your user, a lot of players are just going to blitz their user and kind of stand down here, and then they're just going to hold the triggers. And the reason that they do that is that they're aiming for the running back to block. And you see what happens is you're going to get a player straight in through the A gap right at the quarterback. So believe it or not, this defense actually is good because you send 6, you bait them into blocking the running back, and then you send 4 guys instead, and it still gets A gap pressure. And this is really, really nice because again, with this, you see here that we get the A gap. You got the good acceleration ratings on your defensive tackles. That's what's going to free up these players to come in through the A gap. This is better than using fat defensive tackles, in my opinion. So you see right here that these guys are going to start to come in. A lot of times they're going to come in clean. It also depends on how you like to stand with your user. So one thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to put a hard flat to the left. I'm going to still crash my line, and I am going to blitz my user. But instead of my angle going to this side, I'm actually just going to step a little bit over so it goes to this side. Sometimes that's actually enough to make it so that when the ball is snapped, the other guy comes in free. And if it doesn't, no big deal. I mean, look at how this just immediately sifts through the middle. You're able to really get into this. I do think that it's important that if you run this defense, if you could have the quick jump players on the line, you see how that player, the Whitfield Powell, the guy with the gold quick jump, notice how quickly he gets into that A gap to start this cascade of having the offensive line really struggle to pick this up. The quick jump ability is going to make this even better. So if you guys are playing college ultimate team right now, I think at the point that this video is coming out, we're looking at bronze quick jumps. Those are only going to go up to silver and gold and get faster and faster and better. Higher chance of getting off the ball more quickly. When you get those animations, you're almost always looking at something really gnarly. So as I mentioned here with this is a man coverage setup. You always can feel free to change everybody on the field into zones, by all means. But a lot of you guys are probably beginner, maybe novice adjusters. You don't know how to use those adjustments. So this is where the nickel dog 3 buzz, I think, can be really valuable for you guys because there's less zoning out. So again, with this setup, we're actually in a good spot. It's a stock setup. Unfortunately, the defensive line's not crashed down. But if you were to actually kind of take a look at this, the way it's set up initially, you got this four-man rush in the middle with the guys already zoned out. Unfortunately, that doesn't really bode necessarily super well for the pinball effect that we just saw. You do see that it can come in A gap a little bit if you just want to set it up and zone out the slot corner. A lot of times when they block that running back, it's going to invite that guy through the A gap either way. So really doing nothing other than zoning out the slot corner, if you suspect they're going to block the running back, can lead to, you know, still getting some sort of A gap penetration. At least now they start to go into panic mode. They're on a timer. They got to step up. They got to throw something quick just because they see this guy immediately into the lap of the running back. But again, with this particular defense, what you can do is still pinch your defensive line, crash down. You're going to zone, and you're going to zone. And then from there, you know, whatever you want to do. If you want to walk your safeties down, come down here and stand here, blitz your user, whatever it is you want to do, that's totally up to you. And then you start to see, you know, these guys are going to really just shed and disengage through the middle. It's truly just a four-man rush that everybody's running kind of the same spot and it comes in. Now, what are the weaknesses to this defense? Of course, this is a four-man rush. First things first, this is easy to get out of the pocket on, especially when they're sending four. So, you know, with this, kind of be prepared to slide your quarterback, kind of maneuver out to the right. If I were a defensive player, one thing that I might consider doing is setting my curl flats to 0. That way, when I do kind of run into players who are immediately kind of shifting to the left or the right in the pocket, this is going to make it so that I can have my guy on the roll outside set in a 0. So let's say in this game, my opponent is consistently moving over to the right side. I'll just come down here, set this up, have my purple on 0 to that side. That way, when they, you know, try to block this with their running back, whatever it is that they're trying to do, and then they move out to the right, I've got that ability to send that purple zone. Now, again, to send a zone, you're going to be able to click the right analog stick in. If you want to with this, of course, you could always just go ahead and leave him rushing and just rush the middle 4 plus him in a contain. That's another option available to you. But again, from an offensive point of view, when it comes to blocking this is kind of my approach. Whether I'm in the shotgun or under center, this is kind of how I work. I see this blitz with everybody mugging, crash down, kind of just standing in the gaps. When I go and I try to attack this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to block my running back, but I'm going to do it via a half slide. So what we do is we hold left bumper or L1, and then I'm going to flick the right analog stick to the left and kind of see what it lines up with. And the first thing that you notice with this is that this is basically inviting the middle linebacker through. You see the HB logo over that linebacker's head. This basically means with this protection, that player's coming in untouched, and I don't really like that. So here's what I do. Regardless of whether or not this is a 4-man or a 6-man, I will then press A, and I'm going to move that all the way over to this guy. And the reason that I do that is that if this is a 4-man rush and he is not rushing, then we're fine, because look at this protection. The offensive line has now retargeted with the slide protection to pick up the middle 4 players. We got linemen blocking linemen. And then if it is a 6-man rush, the running back is responsible for the other guy. So you see here in this example that if we actually snap this football, look at how this is blocked. It's beautiful. Sheds can still occur. That was not a disengage. That was just a pass rush win animation. But we had everybody a hat for a hat on this protection. So it's a pretty simple solve. You see right here again, look at this. All 4 players blocked by 4. We just had a guy do a little rip move to number 58. He was off the block, but I mean, look at this. Absolutely perfect. And everybody ran a route. If you want to leave the running back in to block, feel free. The block and release with the half slide is kind of good. And again, if they do decide that they want to just send everybody, crash down, kind of come down here and mug with the running back on the half slide. So we do the L1, right stick to the left. You see the half slide. You see that hot logo off the right? That says if we snap this ball, that guy's coming in free. No, we don't want that. So I'm going to move the mic, which moves the halfback logo that way. Now you see what this protection looks like. We snap this football and look at that. Everyone is picked up. And again, sheds can occur, but now from there, we're focused on dotting. It's man-to-man. Do we hit our quick throw? You know, is it zone? Do we hit a quick flat? Do we flood a zone defender? However you need to make this work. But this is how you get a body on a body. You get no immediate free runners. I mean, look at this. This is really good. I mean, right here, you just saw once again, 58 get ripped by a superior pass rusher apparently, and you saw 67 get spun off of by a win animation. But there was nobody straight through the middle on this. This is how you run this defense, and this is how you block this defense. So I hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure you guys give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, check out Gridiron Game Plans. I've got a defensive game plan coming this week. I'm so excited. I know it took about 2 weeks, but that is my MO. I want to make sure I know this game inside and out, get you guys in the best spot to get more stops, win more ball games. That's the goal. That's why you're here. So make sure you guys are subscribed, and I'll see you guys this afternoon with a short, or tomorrow with another long form video upload. Until then, this is Zan. Get the lab in. Good luck.